is making available the necessary learning resources to our schools on time. Beginning this year, we have ensured that capitation funds are dispersed to public schools before the opening date. We are also accelerating the expansion of classrooms, laboratories, and other learning facilities to cope with the growing number of learners and the demand by the CBE curriculum. These reforms are reshaping our classrooms into spaces that nurture creativity, build practical skills, and prepare learners for real-life challenges. They are laying the foundation for a generation that is not only knowledgeable, but also innovative, adaptable, and capable of providing needed solutions. Indeed, even in the face of early skepticism, the results we are now witnessing speak for themselves. Learners who have transitioned to senior school are already demonstrating strong learning outcomes that affirm the soundness of our decision to reform the curriculum. The core competencies and values being inculcated, including critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and citizenship, are evident in how these learners engage with their teachers and interact with their peers. Their confidence, creativity, and the sense of responsibility are clear indicators that we are on the right path. This progress has been driven by deliberate and sustained government action. Since taking office, you've had the statistics as given by Minister Ogamba that we had 4 fundamental challenges in this education space. We had a serious challenge with competence-based curriculum. You all know. Many parents were complaining they are being forced to do homework at night. They are making cars at night, cutting boxes, and doing all manner of things. We had serious challenges with teacher numbers. We had a huge gap of close to 100,000. We could only hire 5,000 teachers every year. We had serious challenges of learning spaces. I will give you an example. In Nairobi alone, we've had to provide additional resources to create more learning spaces in the city of Nairobi. We're building an extra 1,000 classrooms in the city of Nairobi alone, just to make sure that the students, especially in informal settlements, have access to education. We had very serious challenges of the funding model that was more focused on the institution than the learner. We have since corrected all of them. And of course, we have 2 to go. Digitize the whole system so that we improve on transparency and we make it much more easy for decision making. And number 2, I have one last thing that I must do, and that is to sort out a higher education loans board so that we can have clarity. And I have instructed this man, that, and I've put him together with my team. I've given them some assignments that we must finally end up with a predictable, you can sit down, Monari, with a predictable resources. Because as we move some of our commercially viable programs out of the budget into the National Infrastructure Fund, we want to create space using, resources from the budget, from development partners, to fund more social projects, education, health, social protection. That is where we will concentrate our resources from the budget, because the rest of the commercially viable projects, we can move them to the National Infrastructure Fund and also to the private sector, building on the ecosystem we have, on public-private partnerships and all the other things we are doing in that space. So we've hired teachers, and I'm sure the teacher representatives here can confirm. It is not a story. True, wanaoyu na ndugu zetu? Yes. Yeah. The teachers we have hired in the last 3 years, it would take us 20 years if we hired them at the rate at which we were hiring before. But we made this deliberate because we could see the negative effects our learners and our learning and our education was suffering because of lack of teachers. We built more classrooms, as was said by Waziri, 23,000 and counting. We are building also another 1,600 laboratories across Kenya to make sure that no student, as has happened in the past, gets to a laboratory the day they are doing the exam. You know, how sometimes unfortunate it is. And we have reorganized the funding model so that it is student-centered. Through these investments, we are not merely expanding access to education. We are laying the foundation for a more equitable, competitive, and future-ready nation. At the same time, we have continued to invest in teacher development, expand digital learning infrastructure, and align education pathways with national development priorities. I'm very happy that STEM is now a real, program. And I was very happy that, the STEM students are up to 60, you told me? We are at? We are now at 52%, heading towards 60. And then we will keep improving so that we prepare ourselves for the future. We must be armed with the human capital that will take our country to the next level. At the level of higher education, we have undertaken bold reforms to ensure that access is fair, transparent, and sustainable. The new university funding model has shifted the focus from institutions to students, ensuring that financial support is provided based on need through a structured combination of scholarships, loans, and household contribution. This approach is enabling more young Kenyans to access higher education while safeguarding the long-term sustainability of the sector. Equally important is the transformation of technical and vocational training. We have positioned TVET as a critical central pillar of our economic agenda by expanding institutions, strengthening competence-based training, and deepening collaboration with industry. Through these efforts, we are ensuring that young people acquire relevant skills that lead to employment, entrepreneurship, and productivity, thereby directly contributing to national growth. I did inform Migosi and team at the Ministry of Education that technical education, and I had very serious challenges when I was Minister for Higher Education at some point on getting technical education to come to the center of our education and education outcomes. Because there was a notion built over time that the students who go to Tibet are the students who are not very good. And that was very wrong. And that is why we have changed the perception. I am very happy that today learners choose where to go on the basis of where they see themselves into the future. And as a result, we have increased the numbers. In 2002, we had close to 300,000 students in our TVETs. Today, we are at 800. Our target is to get to 2 million. I know there is a small problem somewhere which I'm sorting on matters to do with the resources available to teach those students. I have since discussed with the PS in that department and the Waziri, and we're going to sort it out. Because we had two challenges. We want to make sure that it is affordable. That is why we worked with the TVET institutions to reduce the fees from close to 100,000 to 67,000. And we are also modularized so that certification becomes more frequent. And you can get in and go out as you get more skills. So that is now working very well with a bit of challenges, but we are sorting it out because we want to make sure that we have more people equipped with technical skills. We've run into some headwinds, for example, with our housing program. We need more plumbers, we need more electricians, we need more people who understand masonry, and we've had to resort to people who have learned on the job. And that is why we have also expanded the certification through recognition of prior learning, so that people who have learned the skill, who have the skill, they have a shorter runway in making sure that they get certification. The success of these reforms depend on the strength of our leadership, the integrity of our systems, and the effectiveness of our collaboration. Leadership must be exercised at every level of our education system with a clear focus on delivery and on results. Accountability must guide the utilization of resources and the implementation of programs, ensuring that every investment translates into improved learning outcomes. Collaboration must bring together government, educators, communities, and partners in a shared effort to transform education. And that is why this forum is very significant and very consequential. It brings all of us together so that we can listen to one another, sample the ideas that we have, improve on what is not working, change what is not working, improve on what is working, and tap into better ideas on how to take this forward. We all agree that this is a space that is evolving because society is evolving. There were courses that were not part of us a few years ago that now must be central to how we move forward. And therefore, we cannot afford to stay static when the needs of society, when the needs of industry are changing. That's why this collaboration, the coming together of stakeholders, sponsors of schools, whether religious organizations or private sector organizations, the public schools, and everybody in between must be part of this conversation. And we must admit that we allow ourselves for a good idea to give way to a better one so that we can improve the space around learning in our society. I have also stated that as we go forward, we are going to put more resources in science, research, innovation, and technology. because I strongly believe that no society can grow or develop beyond its capacity to think. And we must allow ourselves to, get the best minds to think for us, to innovate, to research, so that we can improve on the knowledge that we have, we can create new knowledge, and we can use knowledge to drive our development. This conference, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, provides an important opportunity to consolidate the progress we have made, align our efforts, and strengthen the implementation of reforms across the country. It is a platform not for finger pointing, not for accusing one person against another. It is a forum for us to think together and to work together. The common good of education is at the center of this. It is a platform to generate solutions, share experiences, and reaffirm our collective commitment to delivering an education system that works for every learner and for our nation. I am truly proud to be part of this conversation here in Naivasha. Asante sana. I thank you, and I look forward to some more engagement as we go forward. Asante sana.
Another warm round of applause.